Saturday. What's going on, everybody that's decided to join in or watching this on the replay? Again, like and subscribe if you want more content from us because we're going to talk about all things related to consciousness and, um, spirituality, religion, maybe some politics here and there. We're going to try to keep it live and keep it coming. And how's it going, Sophia? How you doing today?
Hey, everything's going good. I can't complain. How
Good,
about
good,
yourself?
good. I've been good. I've been trying to research this Billy Carson topic all week because we're going to discuss it today. But my head has been in all these damn drone videos and the invasion is on and all this kind of stuff. And so I'm trying to do some last minute topic research to make sure that we're on point. So I figured we'd jump right into it, man, and just talk about this Billy Carson debate fiasco. You're familiar with that, of course. Um, what do you think so far? Do you think that he's been sort of railroaded, ambushed, not treated fairly, or what's your thoughts on that just initially before we get into it?
Okay.
I think there's a delay.
Can you hear me? Because I'm having trouble. Damn. Damn, damn, damn.
Uh-oh, we just had some technical difficulties. So let me do this. I'm going to take my screen off and see if that helps. Does that help in any
But
way?
try just remove.
Any good?
I don't
Any
know.
good? Can't
From
hear
my
me?
end, it looks okay now.
Okay. Can you hear me
Yes.
though? All right. So I
Yes.
was just cool, cool, cool. So I was just going to ask you, just initially, right off the top, are you very familiar with Billy Carson?
No. So actually, I'm really not that familiar with him. I just recently heard about him when the whole thing about what's the other guy? Terrence Howard was going on.
Mm-hmm.
And then I saw that Billy Carson got on the Joe Rogan show practically right after that. And
Mm-hmm.
so the only thing I knew about him is that he covers topics like, ancient Egypt and Kemetic theology and things like that. And I thought that he had, very interesting topics. But that's pretty much all I knew about him.
Mm. Yeah, I'm familiar
I
with
saw
who
a little
he
bit of
is.
his segment where he
Uh-oh, we got a delay. Yeah, I'm familiar with who he is, and I never really was sold on some of his ideas because he talked a lot about some of these apocrypha books and trying to refute Christianity through these books. But these books really don't represent early
yeah,
Christianity. They more or less represent the
sorry, I
church
can't even
later on.
because this is crazy.
Uh-oh.
Hold
So are we still having a little technical
on,
difficulty there? Seems like we are.
Scott. Hold on, Scott. I'm trying to. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. It's
I'm
just
trying
there's
to
a delay.
switch. Okay, I'm trying to switch my internet real quick.
Okay. I'll tell you what.
Um,
In the meantime, I'm gonna kind of move on and discuss who Billy Carson is.
go ahead. Go
So
ahead.
all right. So Billy Carson, I can pull up information. He's a scientist. Let me actually pull some stuff up here on him instead of giving you my version of who he is. Um, he's definitely a speaker. He's founder and CEO of Forbidden Knowledge, which is his company. And he actually sold books, best-selling author of The Compendium of the Emerald Tablets, and Woke Doesn't Mean Broke. And, he founded his company on that, and he's really big in the conscious community. But he's always sort of hit me as kind of a grifter type, only because he's always bragging about his money, always kind of showboaty. And I just don't trust that. When people have stuff to sell overly much, it kind of raises eyebrows with me. So I'm really was never really impressed. And after looking at some of the things that he speaks about, he's full of a lot of errors. He talks about um, some of these apocryphal books, what they call the apocryphal books that weren't in the Bible canon, right? And the reason they're not in the canon is because they're books that came later on after the canonization was complete. And so I just look at him as just another grifter. He claims to be this and that. I don't know that. He claims to be a scientist and went to, academia and all of this. I know he did some I guess jail time or prison time. Not sure exactly what. If you guys can kind of tell me a little bit about that in the comments, that'd be helpful. Because I'm really kind of new to him. I never really paid him too much attention. He kind of turned me off, kind of seemed kind of cultish to me. So yeah, that's what I know about him so far. So if anybody knows something they can kind of add to the discussion, feel free, man. I would like something like that. Um, and then we can kind of discuss that. But I know that he had this big debate, and during the debate, he just kept spitting off, inaccuracies. Wouldn't you say that was true, Sophia? When he was doing that debate, that he was sort of kind of caught with his pants down, so to speak. He didn't have his info right.
Well, to me, it wasn't so much that he was spitting off inaccuracies. He was just saying way too little. He wasn't saying much of anything. And that's kind of what, I was disappointed because he definitely got called out on using known forgeries as proof, that Jesus wasn't crucified and whatever else. And so that was a big mistake for him to use, known forgeries, at least what's academically accepted to be that. You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
then, he did take the L and say, yeah, you got me on that one, whatever, let's move on from that. And I do feel like the opposition kind of ambushed him and
Hmm.
was kind of controlling the whole, way that the debate was going to go because he didn't really let him move on when he said, well, okay, let's move on from that. You got me there, but let's move on from that because aside from that, there are other things I can bring up, and they just kept harping on him using known texts that have been disproven. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So I was just disappointed that he let them pretty much dictate the way that the debate is going to go, and he had
Right.
very little to say and very little, like no comeback at all.
Right. Right. Do you think he's doing a disservice to the conscious community by being so ignorant of the facts coming into a discussion? Even if it wasn't a debate, it wasn't set up to be a debate.
Yeah, I think that even though he may have been ambushed and didn't know that that was going to happen, since he calls himself an expert, he should have still had more to say. He should not have been caught off guard that severely. He should have still known what he's talking about in general. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Exactly. Exactly. That's my thoughts as well. Because a lot of the stuff that the scholar was bringing up, a simple Google search could have easily cleared that up long time ago before the discussion even happened. Like that kind of stuff should be common knowledge to a scholar, which it is. It's even common knowledge to me. And I don't even look at the books of Apocrypha that much. I just learned it in my religious training coming up and, doing my own little research here and there when I was very much a Christian. Um, but yeah, it seems like he was just so ignorant of some common basic facts, and it was so easy for him to get tripped up, and they just took advantage of that. Um, Even though it was a calm discussion or whatever the case is, as Steve here is mentioning, um, he says, I think it was more a discussion because it was very calm. It was not fast or attacking. It was easy going. Yeah, I got that feeling too. But as it started
Yeah,
getting into the debate, don't you feel like it kind of started getting kind of questioning? And you got to understand, these are Christians who Billy is opposed to Christianity from everything I understand. He doesn't believe in the crucifixion. He doesn't believe in the tenets, the core tenets of Christianity. So, he should have expected some pushback.
right. And I share his belief system or whatever, but I just don't think that he's a good representative if he can sit there and not have any kind of argument when a Christian apologist approaches him. You
Yeah.
know, that looks bad because if you're an expert and this is what you truly believe, then you should be able to explain yourself and, you know, tell people, what you believe in and why, and
Hmm.
know where your sources come from. And I just feel like he sat there and said barely nothing, honestly. Most of the time, he just sat there.
Hmm. Hmm.
He didn't say much.
Right. Right. And I don't think he knew what to say. He and he did. He sort of, like Gabriel says here, because he lied about Christian beliefs. He could have been straw manning a lot of that, which is very uncharitable. You always want to
I
give the best, strongest argument, attack the strongest position rather than some made up, because then you're just talking to yourself. But I don't know if he was representing all Christians. He might have been representing some people that believe certain things, but I don't know. For the most part, I think he got it right as far as your surface level understanding of what it means to be a church going Christian, right? But as far as these deeper things like the apocryphal books, most people don't understand stuff like that. They don't know about stuff like that.
My thing is when that West guy told him, you know, that he's using known forgeries to back up his claims. Well, so do Christian apologists because we all know that some of the letters of Paul are forgeries, you know. And so this is how I would have expected Billy to respond.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
Right, right, right. And that's the whole thing. Either he knew and he just didn't want to attack it, and he wanted to take a fall. This gets into the idea of being set up like, like a fall guy for Christians, maybe, or for the establishment, maybe. Something that he comes out and as an opposer of Christianity, and then he
Well,
gets
Christians,
beat.
sorry, we having a lot of lag going on, I
Oh yeah,
think.
yeah, I know.
Well, Christians don't like him because most of the people that covered it, the debate, like that one guy I sent you the video for,
Uh huh.
you
Right.
know, he said in the opening
Uh oh. We're really getting choppy
statement
here.
going into it. Oh, I'm glad.
Oh man. Yeah, we're getting a little bit of choppiness.
I'm back.
Go ahead. Yeah, you're back
Sorry, I'm
now.
having issues today with my internet.
Yeah, it's okay. But yeah, so a question is asked by Joshua Rosa. So you don't believe Arianism took over the churches, and why not? Um, I don't think that that's necessarily not true. um, I don't necessarily understand what that would have to do with him telling things that are obvious lies. Like, he said, he's been preaching on and on about this book of Barnabas, the Gospel of Barnabas, and and he got kind of caught in that whole debate. So, I'll tell you what we can do if you want. I can go ahead and start sharing the maybe I can go ahead and present the video that we were talking about that kind of discusses his 3-hour rant in reaction to that whole thing. And so we can kind of delve into some of the thoughts on the opposition side. This is from Vision Unsealed, which is which is a Christian channel, of course. But I want to go ahead and present what they say about it because it might be interesting for our viewers. I'm sure we've got Christians in our audience as well as unbelievers. So let's go ahead and give it a fair shake. Let me go ahead and pull this up. There we go. And let's go ahead and start this guy off.
I've had a chef for 10 years and they like the food from coming over and eating the food at our house. And now they share our chef.
And now what I'm seeing on my YouTube feed and across Instagram and all the stuff I'm tagged in the hundreds of emails about people telling me there's been fraud they did to them.
We are hopping off of a private jet. We relaxed in a huge 8,500 square foot mansion with our best friends on a tiny private island. I'm actually sleeping in my movie theater in my house. I have a movie theater. I'm sleeping in the movie theater.
You're fighting for lies. There's so many lies.
This is what they try to do when you get famous. You see? I let a lot of it slip because a lot of these people are just ignorant, poor people. They're just poor people. They're just ignorant. So I let a lot of it, whatever, man. These people are just poor dummies. What can you do? I make more money than rappers. I'm not a Joe Schmo 9-to-5 worker bee.
Interesting. So a lot of people resent that kind of attitude, especially from when you start talking about consciousness and religion and spirituality. What does all that have to do with the inner work? I don't know. I think he's just talking about, it sounds like he's pushing this Joel Osteen sort of Creflo Dollar kind of messaging, if you ask me. What do you think? I think Sophia, you froze. I would maybe reboot and get that back up. In the meantime, we'll continue the stream here.
You thought I was just some dumb black guy that just happened to get a little lucky with a couple of clips online and gain some popularity. Like Kendrick Lamar say, they not like us. They not like us.
What are you saying?
Yeah. To help us reach more people, please like this video, subscribe, and enable the bell icon. Billy Carson panics and deletes the 3-hour meltdown video.
And you think your cult is so huge and so massive. I've got people in every area of politics. And yes, I still call them polytricksters, but I've got people in politics. I've got people in 3-letter agencies. They come on tour with me. I've got people in government. I've got people in countries. Powerful people that support. I've got billionaires. I've got billionaires' numbers on my cell phone. Billionaires that I can just call right now and have casual conversations with. I hang out with them. I got powerful, powerful people behind me. So you think you got powerful people behind you and you got zealots behind you? Congratulations.
Billy, if you're powerful and have powerful people in positions of authority, why are you not courageous enough to leave the video? The video on Billy's Forbidden Knowledge Podcast Network YouTube channel is gone.
Yeah, that's kind of weird too. Why would this guy delete his video if he didn't feel like he lost the debate or was embarrassed? He should have been embarrassed. And yeah, he says a lot of these things, regarding his money and stuff like that. It just reeks of charlatan. It reeks of grifter. I just don't trust people that do that. You know what I mean? It's very disconcerting to me. Someone who is, if you're looking for truth, that's what's more important. Nobody cares how much money you got, man. And I understand his little preaching of manifestation and bringing, positive results in his life by just tapping into the energy of the universe and stuff like that. But if that was the case, why isn't everybody rich? Why can't everybody do it? He says everybody can, but obviously that's not true. I'm a lot skeptical about stuff like that. And I try to be the most spiritual minded person in the world, I guess because I don't really fall into this whole idea of ego. I try to disassociate from all that shit. I think that that gets in the way of looking into your real self, your higher self, which is really your experiential observer self, in my opinion. But yeah, he's not about that. So he doesn't really resonate with me. So he may be entertaining to a lot of people who like to see, people like Billy Carson speak and talk and rant and go on and on about forbidden knowledge. People who are prone to conspiracy theory, things like that. You know, they're really drawn to that because they want to be the smartest guy in the room, right? And it's not about your ego. It's about letting go of the ego. You know what I mean? That's my thought. Sophia's coming back on. All right, there she is. Hey, go
I
ahead.
had to I had to switch to my phone.
Yeah. Still looks good though. So I think we've got quality visual.
Okay, you could turn your screen on probably.
Okay, let me try to do that. All right. Now you can see my ugly grill. Hey,
Whatever.
world. Hey, world. Did I do my hair right? But anyways, we've got a lot of comments. We got a lot of people engaging, which is great. So Zarn says, here's the bigger issue, though. Billy always blamed the Christian. He manifested this hate. That I can kind of get with. I understand that. What do you think about that?
I'm not sure because I didn't hear what's been said.
No, I'm saying what I listed it on the screen. Zarn reads, here's the bigger issue. Billy always blamed the Christians, and so he manifested this outcome.
Blame them for what exactly?
So he blamed the Christians for lying, like being a cult, like he calls them a worldwide cult, and pretty much just liars and enslavers and just preachers of, bad outcomes, which history, and he can go back in history and point to like all of the things that he would bring up, like maybe the Crusades, maybe a lot of the bad actors in Christianity. So by really focusing on this a lot, what Zarn's saying is he's manifested this kind of hate in return.
Well, I don't agree.
Okay.
I don't agree because like that part of it, I'm not mad at him because Christians set themselves up as if Christianity is the only truth, and they think that it's their job and their mission to go and convert people to Christianity, even if they didn't ask. I mean, they believe that everyone that doesn't believe in Christianity goes to hell, and their doctrine is actually pretty hateful. So, because of that, people are in fear of going outside of the Bible and think that they will end up in hell if they don't follow this doctrine. And I don't believe that a loving God would operate that way. So I'm not sure how it's hateful to say that,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Joshua Rosa asked, why didn't West share these topics? So is he an elitist? I wouldn't. That's the question. That's the question that's floating around on the internet. Is Billy Carson is in with Wes, that they're partnered to make him fall. But I don't know if this is true. I have no evidence of it. That does seem like conspiracy theory to me. Whether Wes is an elite, I don't know. I've only seen Wes on a few debates. I haven't really and he's more of a scholar. I don't see him as an elite, but he may be. I don't know.
I don't think he's an elite, but he could very well be a grifter because, like you brought up earlier, it's always about his money. There's even one video titled, "Oh yeah, from rags to riches," and how he got rich doing this, and like you made me aware of him selling elixirs and stuff, and so he's probably most likely just in it for the money,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's my thing. And this is what I, for one, don't want to do the same thing that seems to be happening with Billy Carson. I know a lot of people, especially Christians, in my opinion, or in my experience, by the way, a lot of the Christians are saying, yeah, this not only exposes Billy Carson, this exposes Satan. This exposes the devil and what consciousness movement is all about. It's demonic. It's it needs to be stamped out. And so Billy Carson is just another falling star. He's one of the great ones that are falling to the earth, as the Bible says in Revelation and so forth. And so I've been told this. And so, I wouldn't want to leverage the same charge against Christianity as a whole, like all Christians are grifters and brainwash people and stuff like that. But let's be real though, man. Christianity has a lot of flaws. A lot of traditional Christian teaching, has a lot of flaws, like the Pentecostals, a lot of different sects. Really, all of them have something wrong. I've never really had a discussion with a Christian that turned out that they actually supported the facts that, Jesus really was resurrected from the dead, all of this stuff. I'm not a Christian anymore, so I don't believe in the resurrection of Jesus Christ. I don't believe that. Not literally.
Neither do I.
You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of things in the Bible I don't believe, because to believe it as literal history would be absurd, to be quite honest. And plus the whole idea of slavery in the Bible, all of that stuff just is, for me, it doesn't resonate with my morals. And my morals are more important than the morals of some ancient writers, scribes, and stuff like that. And I can hear people now saying, "Oh, you're trying to put your morals above God's morals." And we can have that discussion. Please, if you're interested in debating me on God, debating me on morality, is morality objective, subjective? Let's do it, man. That'd make the channel exciting. So please send me your information. Let's do it. We can actually do it. My email is debatefire@gmail.com. And again, like and subscribe if you like what we do, and if you want to see these upcoming debates, if they actually come to manifestation. But anyways, someone says here, was that Papa Gen X says, "Wow, what a narrow-minded view." I'm not sure what he's talking about there. Anything you might have said or I might have said, I have no idea. When I first saw Wes, I thought he looked like a clone. Okay. Excuse me, I'm coming down with some sickness.
Well, I actually, from the little bit I knew, I thought that he's a conscious guy, because the stuff that he was covering in his lectures is a lot of stuff that I agree with. I believe that there are more ancient beliefs that were around way before Christianity, and that Christianity borrowed from a lot of that. And with that being said, I'm not going to tell you what you should believe in, you know what I mean? But to attack the conscious movement and say that we're demonic and our beliefs have no merit. And I'm like, it doesn't make sense, because people have always had their own religious beliefs before Christianity ever even was thought about. And who are they to set themselves up all of a sudden at this point in time and say, we are the sole authority, we are the ones who represent the true God? Right. Like, how is that even possible? How arrogant do you have to be,
Exactly. Exactly. It's another system of sticks and carrots is all it is. It's a very human endeavor, a human project religion is, regardless of whether it's Christianity or whatever. Now, Papa says real Christians don't do that though. So already we've got the true Scotsman fallacy at work here. The true Christian. Well, who dictates who the
That's
true
not
Christian
true.
is?
That's not true.
Yeah,
Essentially, all Christians believe that their religion is the truth. And they also believe, because they will quote Bible scriptures that say it's their job to be missionaries.
that's right. That's right.
So, what do you mean?
Yeah, isn't that what Jesus commissioned, the Great Commission, to go forth and preach the not the gospel? And what is the gospel? What is the core tenets? That Jesus is God or divine, and that by believing that he died for your sins, you will be saved. All those who call on his name will be saved. Not any other God's name, the name of Jesus. That's who saves you, right? So, I mean, let's not bullshit ourselves. Christianity
Right.
is an elitist religion. No, no, no. You are misquoting it all. Misquoting
Wow.
what? What are we misquoting? I would really love to know.
Jesus
But
said,
or
I
maybe
am the light. Jesus said, I am the light and the way, right? And you have to come to God through Jesus. Is that
right.
right or wrong?
Let's present it on the screen. I'm not one to just talk out of my ass. I like to back things up. So let's pull out the Bible, shall we?
Yeah. I just hate doing it on my handset because everything's tiny and I can't do other things on the side.
No, I'm going to present it actually. I'm going to present the scripture. I think it's what? Romans 10. Hold on. 10:13. Yeah, Romans 10:13. Let me stop sharing that for a second and let's get into Bible stuff. Hold on. Yeah, the one I'm thinking of is this one, Romans. All right, so it says, for whoever, this is from the King James Version, for whoever calls on the name of the Lord shall be saved. How can they call on him in whom they have not believed? And how shall they believe in him whom they have not heard? And how shall they hear without a preacher? And how shall they preach unless they are sent? As it is written, how beautiful are the feet of those who preach the gospel of peace, who bring glad tidings of good things. So who is the Lord? I would like to know. Is that another God or is that Jesus? Or is that God's Father, Yahweh? It's there's so many different religions. I was a Jehovah Witness at one point and they were talking about Jehovah. But most Christians that I've ever talked to, and believe me, I went door to door to door to door for years having this same conversation that this is not about Jesus, it's about Yahweh or Jehovah. But most Christians that I've ever encountered believe that this scripture is pointing to Jesus. I am the way and the truth and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. That's even a better scripture to cite for that, actually. It's more to the point. So yeah, where's the lie? Where are we lying that Christianity is not an elitist religion? Anybody can. Would you like to take incoming calls or someone to join us? Do you think that would be appropriate, Sophia? I think we got. Yeah, she crashed again. Doggone it, crashing out. Yeah, the Trinity: God the Father, God the Son, God the Spirit, three persons, one God. Exactly. So we're talking about being saved of the Lord through the Lord, and it's through Jesus because He is the way, the truth, and the life. So you can't even come through the Father without believing in Jesus. What if you don't believe in Jesus? Do you have a right to your own religion and still be approved by God? I don't think so, according to most Christians. R&B to keep the Sabbath holy. Someone told me that I have not come to abolish the laws. Yeah, that's the whole law discussion, whether Jesus, we are supposed to follow the law, or whether Jesus nailed them to the cross. You're not lying, it's presumptuous. We were created but have to go through someone for be accepted by the creator. The original sin concept is so wrong to me. You're not lying, it's presumptuous. So I'm presuming that what I'm reading is wrong, because I'm just reading the text as clear as it is, the plain text. There are those who put interpretations behind it to kind of slide and sneak their way out of the obvious problems here. But I wouldn't say it's presumptuous. I'm sort of assuming that it means what it says, right? I could agree with that. I'm assuming the Bible means what it says. So I'm not sure whether this is good argumentation right there. Why shouldn't I? Why should I not believe that Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life? Someone put that answer together. That's what I'd like to know. Anyways, I'm going to try to go back to the video, because I think Billy Carson's wife was doing some damage control here. And that might be worth exploring. Let's hear what she has to say.
Look at
them
this.
do. I'm like,
He
what are you
told me.
saying?
I heard
So look
from
at this.
defendant number
He told
3.
me
I heard
that
from defendant
Billy
number
says that
3
he's 70, so he
that
can sell colloidal
Billy
I even know
70, so he can
Elizabeth
sell
way better
colloidal
than I know
silver.
Billy. I've known Elizabeth since.
You got a little feedback going on. 70 years old? Was that something that, I don't know about that either. I keep hearing about that he claimed he was 70 years old. Can anybody confirm that's true? That's a pretty tall claim, but it would be consistent with his Anunnaki, what is that, elixir that he sells? I think it's supposed to increase your lifespan and shit. Yeah, he did. He came for a particular group of people, namely the poor people, who he just shit on early in his rant, which is really self-refuting. Not a very smart move. He came for a particular bloodline, Jesus, right? Okay. Billy, the fool of fools, got exposed as just that. I would agree. He is no better than Joel Osteen, Creflo Dollar, all of these mega church preachers. I don't see any difference with it. And I think it's just a damn shame that he's associated with a more pure sort of spirituality that people can practice privately in their life. You know, if you even talk about, I'm spiritual, they'll always point to people like Creflo Dollar, Joel Osteen, and now him, to try to gaslight you like you're stupid and you don't have any, you can't define spirituality on your own terms. You can't practice it, because in that case, you're just been fooled and brainwashed. And all these sort of people do is just, reinforce that kind of stereotype, right? So it's just crazy, man. I don't get it. John 2:2, he is the propitiation for our sins, and not for ours only, but also for the sins of the whole world. Well, that's the claim. And I guess he's talking to Ramon Sefu. Yeah, that's a claim. Anybody can claim anything, though. You see, my whole idea here that's going to make the world a better place is you have to be balanced, man. You got to be a little skeptical, but you can't be so skeptical that you're not open to evidence that may be against your prior commitments of beliefs. Like, if the supernatural really exists, then, if there was evidence that the supernatural exists and I'm a naturalist, then I would believe in supernaturalism, right? But it's going to depend on evidence. And yeah, evidence is different for all people, maybe. You know, evidence is different for all people, but when you start citing books like the Gospel of Barnabas, for example, that's not evidence of what Christians believed in the first century, because the book of Barnabas alludes to other things. Just an internal critique can expose it for what it is, right? So it's just kind of silly. All right, Kat, you are interrupting the broadcast, sir. Uh-oh. I heard Paul said, preach to all nations. Is that all bloodlines? I got to look it up. Yeah, good question. Uh-oh. Yep. So, yeah, it's just really weird. Let me get back to the video and see what else is said on here. Let me see what else they're going to go into.
Since I was 17 years old.
And he's lying to people and he's manipulating people because he's telling people he's 70 and Colloidal Silver ages you backwards because he doesn't look 70. What type of shit? First of all, it's a lie. First of all, who would ever lie to say that they're 20 years older than they are? Come on, 20 years older. This is just ridiculous stuff. Come on.
One of the things you brought up was about Billy telling you he was 70 years old.
Yep.
What is that? What's up with that? Because that was one of the things Elizabeth said. How Billy would never say that to anybody. And
Oh,
I'm like,
really? That's fascinating because she's the one that brought it up to me multiple times in person when we were drinking. So it's been on her mind. So there you go. She's fighting for a lot. So you know, I actually have this type of stuff on recording. I didn't want to go that far.
Yeah.
To just like I didn't want to show the doorbell footage.
Living a life of lies won't get you far in life, but
Well, he says that, but is it true? Does he really have Billy Carson saying that he's 70 years old? That would be interesting. Now, it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me at all. And, you know, he knows Billy Carson better than me, obviously, or anybody that I know. So, yeah, I don't know, man. You know, generally I would need evidence to believe anything. And that's the whole point here. Like, there's nothing wrong. Dude, there's nothing wrong with asking for solid evidence and having a high bar. This is how you protect yourself from people like Billy Carson. You know what I'm saying? You don't, you know, you put your skeptical hat on. You know, it's okay to be skeptical. And it doesn't just have to be for someone like him. It can be for anything. Your local politicians, your national politicians, the claims that they make. Look into it. Don't just, you know, feed into your echo chambers and things you want to believe. Actually look at it. You know, and Christians should actually take this attitude and be supportive of that attitude. Because wouldn't you want a Muslim to investigate the problems with their religion? Wouldn't you want an atheist to look at the problems of their skepticism? Or a spiritual person, someone who's not a Christian, wouldn't you want them to question their worldview so that they could maybe open up to the possibility of Christianity being true? Well, it cuts both ways. You know, we can ask questions about Christianity too, and we should. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, that's also part of your spiritual journey, to question all things, to really just try to see if it's reasonable. Does it resonate with you? It's so easy to, you know, believe. You know, people believe in beliefs. They're attached to beliefs. But there's also a virtue of unattachment, a principle of unattachment. That way you have a more clear head to discuss these topics. Like, if you don't get so emotionally wrapped up in your beliefs, and you can just sit back for at least take a minute or 2 minutes to pretend like you're an unbeliever and then examine your most cherished beliefs from that position. That's healthy. But people are driven by fear. They're scared God is going to get sad or mad or punish them. Again, system of sticks and carrots. And it's how you keep the mental locked in. That's the slave mentality that even Ben Carson talks about. It doesn't seem rational. It seems like that's an appeal to emotion, and that doesn't prove truth just because it truly scares you. Like, there's a lot of people say, well, I'd rather believe in Jesus than not, because if I don't, I might go to hell. And if it's not true, then I haven't lost anything, because nothing's going to happen. How do you know that? How do you know the Muslims aren't right? How do you know some other God that's going to be mad at you for not believing in him? How do you know that's not true? Have you put just as much focus into that shit as your favorite belief system? You know what I'm saying? It's like, for me, this is what I believe, But the fear is real, man. Billy trying to send the whole world to hell to enrich himself. Really? Where's the evidence for hell? Where's your evidence of hell? Where's your evidence of this God? You know what I'm saying? Jesus is king. Great. Where's the evidence? Prove it. Belief and non-belief sounds dull as hell. Yeah, it is. It is dull. It is. I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat it like a Billy Carson. Yeah, non-belief is dull as hell. But the question is, do you want to anchor yourself into something that's true? Or do you want to anchor yourself into something that's not dull and more exciting and sexy? And there's the gaslight, the reprobate mind. Sophia, you have a reprobate mind.
A reprobate mind. Yeah, my dad used to tell me that crap. A reprobate mind. Why? Because you can think outside of the box or for yourself, because you can arrive at your own conclusions about reality and your own belief system.
Mm-hmm. I called it when I said Billy Carson manifested Christian hate. And we're riding the same wave. Oh, that's evidence that Jesus is God and resurrected from the dead? Maybe it's just evidence that he fucked up in the debate. Maybe that's what it means. Sorry, I'm kind of brutal, guys. I don't mean to be so brutal. I'm just kind of not feeling very well. And so I'm kind of being challenging right now. But look, just to let you guys know, if you're a Christian, I am not about to shit on your religion. You have every right to believe what you do. And any patriot would be willing to die for your right to believe and exercise your freedom of speech and freedom of religion and practice.
Who is this?
What's that?
Sorry. I wanted to respond to Steel Lionel because I sort of agree with him. He said that they're trying to take down Billy because he's helping the masses wake up. And so here's my problem with Billy. The fact that he's introducing the things into the world that need to be heard and talked about, right? That would be waking up the masses, but then turns around and has no argument and is not using factual evidence for his argument. That's not good for our community. And that's my hang up with him. If he's going to represent our beliefs, then he needs to do it correctly, because he could cause all of us to be invalidated. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, you just don't
have and Billy
faith.
Both sick. Who's saying that?
I don't know. Reginald.
Hey, Alex. Sorry, he had to get my son, and there was a mix-up, so it took him a little while, and I had issues with the internet the entire time, so you didn't really miss a whole lot.
Yeah. Hey, Alex, how's it going, buddy?
Yo.
Hey. So do you have any words you want to share? We've been talking our heads off over here.
Well,
Billy did get smoked. Sorry.
Yeah, I could say that. I mean, there's still kind of like a spectrum of like different beliefs within the spiritual community. So we could just say like, yeah, we don't associate with that guy, because he's just basically scamming and using the name of like the spirituality, to push his bullshit.
Yeah.
So
Well, I don't agree with Alex. I don't think he's pushing bullshit. I just think that he wasn't taking it serious enough. That he jumped on the conscious bandwagon. He's saying he's an expert. He's saying that's what he believes in. Okay, cool. But then you're not really making a good argument as to why you believe these things when you're approached by a Christian apologist who really had not much of an argument other than the same old talking points. He was well versed when it comes to, in the accuracy of certain documents, but to pass off the entire Bible as factual history is ridiculous. And that's where he should have zoned in on the Christian apologist and should have schooled him.
Mm-hmm.
And so the fact that Billy Carson was utterly unable to do that makes me question him. That's my hang up with it.
Right. And again, there's nothing wrong with questioning stuff. Yeah, you can have faith, and somebody says it's called faith, and I think faith can lead you to any conclusion. I can have faith that the white race is the most dominant, superior race in the world, but just because I say it's my faith, does that make it true?
Exactly.
Okay.
You
So
can
I mean,
have
faith can lead. Yeah.
faith. Nobody has a problem with you having faith, but then when you're running around and saying you are the chosen one by God and you are the one who's supposed to be a missionary and fish for people's souls, and that's the only way they're going to be saved, that's when you're making a mistake.
Yeah, that comes off as like really arrogant and self-centered.
Yeah.
West was correct about everything. How could he be correct about everything when you're believing something that is not even true in the first place? Like Christian apologists believe that we only been around for 6,000 years. Y'all even deny science.
Some of them do. Yeah.
On the one hand, I can't exactly like blame people for denying science. Like, yes, it has brought us as a species a lot of understanding and advancement. But if you think about the current course of science in modern history, just like the past few decades, like the scientific community in some regards has kind of gone off of the rails. And then you got all of these science grifters, basically, making in the process of science, because people, just have a preconceived notion or a belief or a set of beliefs, and they're going to type up some fucking paper and slap the name of science on that and call it settled. And if you disagree with them, they're going to say like, oh, what, you don't believe in science? But like, they're not really being very scientific the way they are going about discussing and researching an issue.
Yeah.
Because
I hear you.
yeah, if you're trying to use the the scientific method, then you start with a hypothesis, which is like an educated guess, like based on observations thing. You're saying, I think that this might be the case with this phenomenon, and then you design a test to see if your hypothesis is correct, or if it is possibly correct, or if it's possibly flawed, right? And if you're actually confident that your hypothesis might be correct, then what you don't do is try and discredit any criticism of it. What you do is you invite all criticism. You say, I believe this is true, and I believe that the evidence will bear this out. And if it doesn't, then so be it. We are committed to uncovering the truth, not we are committed to make a guess and then make the experiment match up with that, regardless of what's true.
Right. That's ass backwards. So like
Mhm.
people will say, like he said earlier, yeah, but how did it work out with COVID-19? Science fucked up there, so that disproves science right there. But
That's
that doesn't
dumb.
dis that's
What does that have to
stupid.
do with it?
It's like the most well-known fraud related to missing links is the evolutionary record of the Piltdown man, like a fake fossil discovered in England in 1912, and it was presented like as a transitional species between apes and humans. And
Mm.
because that false thing was done, that fraud was committed by these science
Mhm.
grifters. Does
Mhm.
that make evolution false? Because you have suppose there's a Christian, you could turn that around. Suppose
No,
there's a lot
absolutely
of
not.
false Christians like Joel Osteen and Creflo Dollar, or any one of your
Mhm.
most hated
Mhm.
Christian. Name them. Does that disprove Christianity? No. There's frauds in all kinds of fields. That's just the fact. So just pointing out the examples of fraud is just cherry picking. It's just fallacious altogether.
Mhm. And then there are, people who are actually um, educated people with like their degrees and their credentials, um, uh, be it like scientists or engineers, and then they try to reach outside of their area of expertise, and then they make a huge mistake. And whether or not they admit that they made a huge mistake, they are basically making people lose faith in the process of science.
Hey, can one of you guys, point out the fallacy in this statement here? The greatest trick the devil ever played is trying to convince you he didn't exist.
Well,
Well, that's a matter of opinion, because what is the devil to you? The devil is
Mm.
some guy with a pitchfork that's lurking around the corner, or is the devil your own lower nature in this very dualistic consciousness experience? Because technically, in the beginning, in the Garden of Eden, when they were told not to eat of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, what do you think that means? You're taking that literal? That means that you chose a mortal experience when you were a conscious, pure existence. And the mortal experience is the lower nature that is always tempting you. So that means by being mortal and having this dualistic experience, you're always tempted by your lower self
Mm.
at all times. And once you identify yourself only with the material realm and you build your entire personality around that, like we talked about yesterday, you
Hmm.
lose your higher self, which is the essence of who you actually are, what Christians call a soul.
Right,
So the
right.
thing about Christianity that's very misleading is the literal way that they approach it, because you're actually missing the deeper meaning and the deeper mystical points that it's trying to convey. And that's because those things are borrowed from more ancient beliefs that were already around. And
Of
even the
course.
earliest church did not take this stuff literal. So, I mean, what do you mean about the devil? The greatest lies to believe the devil isn't real. You are the devil. You have a dark side and you have a different side to yourself. And
Not
it's
not you specifically, Scott, but she's saying, like, you
in
know,
general,
each individual.
each individual.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I guess I do like your questions, Reginald, because they're so easy to kind of, explore. Like you're saying that the devil is a liar. Okay, so there's everybody lies. That kind of goes to Sophia's point. If the devil is a liar and we all lie, then the devil lives in all of us, right? That's just a word we use to describe that part of our nature that is a liar, according to you, I guess. Um,
It even
or is he?
says in the Bible. It even says in the Bible that
Oh
the devil
no.
is always lurking, roaming, looking who he can devour. That's because that is always present within you. Your own lower
Mm-hmm.
nature is always there to tempt you at all times.
Right. Right. And that makes a lot of sense because you think about it. When the devil is this external being, it gives you a license to shift the blame to somebody else. You don't have to take responsibility for your own actions because hey, the devil made me do it.
Right.
Yeah, the scapegoat.
The scapegoat, yeah. And that's the whole thinking because Israelite culture was a very you know you know what they really focused on transaction. They were very transactional, and so to buy off sin, somebody had to be the scapegoat and die. And so they
Mhm.
chose the martyr, the greatest martyr, which would be a Jesus Christ who is divine or the Son of God or whatever brand of Christianity you choose, that explains the story because there's over 6,000, I think, different denominations and sects of Christianity, which is another weird thing. Why would God be so unclear about his? He wants his word to be known. He wants to be understood. Yet he uses writing and translating as the tool to get that done. And that's why we have all these different sects and religions, different
Mhm.
things, different denominations. But it just opens up so many questions, Reginald. Every time you make a comment, and he's saying here, you are still trying to convince us the devil doesn't exist. Well, do you exist? Because if you exist, then everything about you exists, right? I mean, I think that the devil is a representation of a part of humanity. But that's my opinion. I'm not saying it's absolutely true. Let me guess. It's all about your lived experience. Well, the lived experience is very compelling. I would say it's the most compelling thing that shapes your worldview. What do you think, Sophia, as a mystic? And I think you're muted. Let me unmute you. Yeah, unmute your mic. I can't do it. Yeah, you need to unmute. Uh-oh. Technical difficulties, folks. Sorry for that. Yeah, it's a good question. Exactly. That's why you need to be saved. Well, it's not a question, it's a statement. Let me ask you, why don't you come in the show and let's have the conversation because it sounds pretty good. Why do I need to be saved? Why would I want to be saved? Answer me that one. Why is salvation something I should do? That's a good question to start with. Let me get somebody else in here. And that nation have to go through curses their forefathers went through. Okay. His name is Lucifer, which means morning star. He is a seraphim angel of the highest order. He is also called the accuser. Prove it. Prove it. Give me the evidence. Yeah, my mama is the seraphim angel. You just gonna believe me because I said it? Really?
Scott,
Is-
stop it. Stop it, Scott.
I mean, I want somebody to call in and actually have this conversation because I think it would be really interesting. And I'm a nice guy. Don't get me wrong. I'm just asking really harsh questions, and I know they come off kind of brutal. But who gives a fuck about feelings? It's about facts, man. That's the problem with Christians, man. They're all in their feelings, man. They get so triggered. It's like you think woke people are bad, man. Christians are the worst. That's where the woke people learned it from. A bunch
This
of
is what this is
crybabies.
what I want to ask the Christians that are here. Hey, listen up, y'all. Okay, so let's take the doggone tribe, for example. They
Yes.
had extensive knowledge about scientific facts, right?
Mm-hmm.
Astronomy and
way
such.
before we had the technology to discover this. For example, they knew about Sirius B, which is a star next to Sirius that you cannot perceive with the naked eye. So, with that being said, they also had their own symbols for what we can compare to the atom, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they already had a full understanding of atoms and electrons and all that kind of stuff. So,
Yeah.
with that being said, I would like to know, why are those things dismissed as being untrue, or why do we dismiss people who have those type of texts in their religious practices and their cultures? Why are we dismissive of those people when they obviously had foresight of a lot of things? And where did they get that from? Was that God inspired or not? You know what
No,
I mean?
no, Sophia. No, that's the devil. That's Satan. He put the he in fact he put all those stars up there to mislead you. And he just like with the evolution stuff, he put all those fossils in the ground so he could really just mislead everybody and make people follow false gods. That's
Yeah.
the answer they give you.
Well, you were talking about fallacies earlier, and I think that it's a fallacy to believe that just because a group of people do not have as advanced a technology as another group, or they're not as industrialized as another group, that means they're completely ignorant and they cannot, make discoveries that are relevant to the human experience.
Yeah, but their problem is no matter how relevant it is or how true it turns out to be, it
Mhm.
didn't come from Jesus.
Right,
It
It came
didn't come
from
from.
it came
Mermaid
from some black
Moxie.
people. It came from a black tribe in Africa.
So
Why the
because it
hell are you
didn't
going to trust
come
a
from
bunch of black
a
tribal people?
Western or European
Yeah, hold on. I want to respond
culture.
to Mermaid Moxie. Yeah, that's what, according to the doggone tribe, they got it from, some type of beings from Sirius. But I'm
Hmm.
just saying, like, a Christian will dismiss all of that and say that the word that is in the Bible, the canon, is the only inspired word by God. And that's where I have a problem with that, because again, how do Christians know that?
Yeah. Oh, and here's a good one that you get a lot. Men can be women, women can be men, but I'm the crazy one. Oh, that proves
That
Jesus
has
is
nothing to
true.
do. That has nothing to do with anything. You're like, what the hell? And you're constantly telling me I'm going to go to hell and whatever. Like, I'm not afraid of you, Reginald.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's
I'm
it's
not
an appeal
afraid.
to fear, appeal to fear. And
If I
not
go
only
to
that,
hell, then that's my choice, right? Do
yeah,
you love me so much that you're trying to save me? Is that it?
yeah. And then
Is that it?
someone's asking us, as you say, prove it. Prove what?
Did I
Are you
ask
talking about
for
the
a
doggone?
savior?
I think he's talking about maybe the doggone tribe claims we just made. So I pulled the video up just to see
He's telling us that we're looking through a keyhole and we're not able to see the entire room. This is coming from a person that only believes what a book tells them.
Right. How
At
ironical.
the end of the day, like, everybody is going to have a limited perspective. Everybody is going to have gaps in their knowledge. So we shouldn't be so quick to dismiss others because of the gaps in their knowledge, because others might have knowledge or experience or wisdom that we do not.
And let's look at the doggone claims, because they're just like claims like Christians, right? So let's see why we should believe them over Christians, I guess is his point. But let's check it out.
Hey,
and explore and
Go ahead.
sorry, that guy said I trust the ancient over any Christian any day. And I want to say you're right, because even in the Bible, it says follow the ancient way. Like, get a load of that.
Yeah, right. Let's check this out really quick.
encounters an ancient tribe with advanced knowledge of the cosmos. The tribe claimed their knowledge is a gift from celestial visitors hundreds of years ago. (1931). After trekking for hundreds of miles through the jungles of sub-Saharan Africa, French anthropologist Marcel Grioul reaches the country of Mali. There, he and his team meet with local tribespeople known as the Dogon. The existence of the companion star, called Sirius B, had been established by astronomers several decades before Grioul's arrival. This leads some to suggest that perhaps other traders or visitors had revealed its existence to the Dogon.
The really strange thing about the Dogon tradition is that it dates back to before the era of astronomical instruments. The knowledge existed for many centuries before Sirius B was even known.
During his time with the Dogon, Grioul observes them conducting strange rituals to mark the passage of the invisible star. Even though they cannot see it, they seem to be able to predict its movement.
So they also got the orbital period correct, 50 years. So how could they know that?
If you were to look at a modern drawing of the orbits of Sirius and Sirius B and compare that to the ancient Dogon drawing, you'll see that they match up almost identically.
The remote tribe appeared to understand the orbital mechanisms of a star almost 9 light years from Earth. Some dismiss this as pure coincidence. Dumb luck might explain 2 correct astronomical predictions, but the Dogon legend also reveal a 3rd prophecy about Sirius B. They claim that it is white and made from the heaviest metal in the universe.
One thing they said about Sirius B is that it's made up of very, very heavy, very dense material.
For 7 decades, scientists can only speculate as to how much of the Dogon's astronomical knowledge is true. In 2005, NASA begins deep space observations of Sirius B using the Hubble Space Telescope. The state-of-the-art satellite data shows that, incredibly, the Dogon were right once again.
NASA's Hubble Space Telescope finally gets us the information we need. Sirius B is a white dwarf star. It's a dead star that's incredibly dense. 1 teaspoon would weigh over 1 ton.
The NASA discovery seems to confirm that the ancient tribespeople have somehow acquired detailed information.
All right, Scott.
Scott, your audio is gone.
Oh my God, I forgot to unmute my big mic.
There you are.
But
He
yeah,
said-
there's going to be people that are going to refute this. You know, there's going to be people that say, well, this is all kind of skewed or whatever. I'm sure. I don't know that for a fact. I just kind of know there's always the contrarians, just like with the Bible. But so
we didn't say God doesn't exist, Reginald. You constantly
Right.
making stuff up, dude. We didn't say we don't believe that there's anything after death. We did not say there is no God. We're not saying any of that.
Yeah. And, I'm not saying God doesn't exist. And God is a very loaded semantic because it means a lot of different things to a lot of different religions and teachings and everything like that. And so when you say God, I just have to be agnostic because I don't know what the fuck you mean by God. What does God mean? Define God, first of all. What is this God? Is it a he? Is it a she? What is it made of? Where does it live? What's its favorite color? What's his favorite taste? What's his favorite movie? Can you please tell me more about this God since you know so much about God? Please bring it. But I put the links in the comment section a number of times and nobody's going to bite, apparently. So apparently you don't have the knowledge either to answer these questions. And it seems like it'd be very easy for someone who's so confident in their favorite cherished beliefs. And yeah, it's called faith. He mentioned that earlier. It's called faith, man. Well, what is faith if not just a belief that you assume to be true? Like I said, you can have
Right.
faith that I can jump off out of my window and not hurt myself, and I would be wrong. You know what I mean? Like, come on, guys. Let's come up with some intellectual. Let's step it up, man. I have a high bar of what I call evidence. And this is part of my spiritual journey, is to work through all of the claims that religious and spiritual people make. So let's do it, man. Let's challenge each other. And it seems like the other thing that he was saying was this idea about, when you're in the grave, rotting in the worms or eating your body, you're going to wish. No, I ain't going to wish anything then because I'll be dead, dude. There is no you anymore. That's the beauty of death. You don't have to do this bullshit no more.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, what's so great about our ego, bro? Like, what is so fascinating that it should live on forever and ever? Amen. What makes our ego so important in the universe, really? I mean, come
Also,
on.
the God that the doggone tribe believed in, guess what was his name?
What?
Anybody know?
I don't know.
Well, I know, but go ahead.
His name was Amen.
Oh, okay.
And so I've asked Christians, Christians, well, why do we say amen? And why is amen always in the Bible? And one Christian told me, well, it's just, a word of confirmation after a prayer. And I'm like, well, how come that amen was already a God in other civilizations and cultures way before Christianity, like Amen Ra in the Egyptian, religion. And, like, how do Christians explain that? Where that guy at? What's his name?
Yeah,
that
right.
was the sun god.
Reginald.
That was the sun god in the Egyptian pantheon, and that was the creator god in the Dogon tribe.
Right, that was the creator God, and his name was Amen. And you're sitting here telling me amen is Greek for truly, okay? But that doesn't explain what I just asked.
Electrons
do you think that
know.
the Greeks were the original creators of all of these terms and all of these beliefs? Let the Greeks tell it. They're the ones who founded all of these different beliefs and philosophies.
Electrons know.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Electrons know when they are being observed, proven through that double slit experiment thing there, right?
Yeah.
So I think the omnipresent creative source can be seen in the electron. So I don't think,
and that's what the doggone believe too.
Yeah, they believe that too. And the thing about it is that particular phenomenon, you can put the God label on that. I don't have a problem with that. In fact, I do. I say that quantum fields are the fundamental property of the universe, and that's what we call God, the thing that created everything. Creation emerges from, all possibilities come from, and maybe even in different dimensions, different parallel dimensions.
No, Abel. What I'm saying is that it just says truly, right? But it could just mean that to them that was the true creator God.
Yeah. So yeah, like with this double slit experiment thingy, like it just says that quantum fields. Now, is quantum fields all loving? Does it answer prayers? Does it kill the Philistines when we need it? When we need those damn babies killed and donkeys cut up in Amalekite and all that? Or is the evil Amalekites? Is that what the quantum fields do too? They do all that? Did they?
Okay, Abel.
Quantum
So
field died on a
okay,
cross.
okay, Abel, you're saying that the definition for the word amen is truly, or the translation from the Greek word. But I'm saying to you, the doggone tribe called their creator God, Amen. How do you think that happened? How did that happen? How did we end up with this word and make it mean truly?
Mm-hmm.
Tell me that.
It's mind, body, and soul, not just mind and body. Okay,
Oh,
well,
Reginald, you don't
here we
even
go again.
listen.
Semantics, man, semantics. You know, faith, 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 faith. You lack
It's
faith.
faith. You
That's
can
right.
have faith, but that's fine. You can just know that that's all it is faith.
That's all it is. And now we've got Reginald Koval to come in and actually discuss
Hi,
this stuff
Reginald.
with us in personal. What's up, man? Can you hear me, sir?
You may have me confused.
Reginald Koval.
Who got
That's
you
not you.
confused?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm looking at the wrong.
Oh,
Dude,
that
I'm
ain't
sick.
him.
I'm sick as a dog.
Yeah,
Please
it's all
forgive me,
right.
bro.
Reggie has been all over you guys for the last 30 minutes. I'm sure I've heard from
Yeah,
what I've heard.
I was expecting him to jump in as much as he's been
Yeah,
trying to
yeah, he
engage,
doesn't
man.
seem to want to get in there. I just wanted to call and let you guys know you're doing a phenomenal job. Take this guy
Oh,
apart, get him out of here.
Thank you.
I've had a couple of
thanks,
little
man.
run-ins with this with him and his group myself, and it caused me to be a little I guess blackballed might be a better word for it.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, they have a cabal.
Yeah.
Him, his friends. There's a group of these guys, right? I don't want to make anybody more famous than they already
Oh
are.
Lord.
But
Yeah.
yeah. So I had some contact with him, and it was about some music stuff, a book that I had written,
Oh.
and yeah. So it turns out that they didn't want to invite me in because I don't know, maybe I wasn't a part of the Billionaire Boys Club or whatever.
Oh
So
man.
it got a little ugly, and I mean, I never really snapped back at the guy. It's not my style, but I've been watching, and I've been watching a lot of things. I see Puffy is going
Mm-hmm.
down. I see, a lot of the major figures, possibly Jay-Z. I was heavy into the music industry at one point. So,
Oh,
and I
nice.
had some contact even with these guys, at least Puffy and his Bad Boy crew. And, they came out, we had some discussions or whatever. But again, I'm not on the same message that these guys are on. I do my thing a little bit more on, I'm about the character.
Oh
Right.
yeah.
So when
Yeah,
I
yeah.
look at somebody like a Billy Carson or a Sean Combs, I look at
Mm-hmm.
the character of these guys. That's mostly what the book is about. It's called Sovereign Overstanding. It has a lot to do with sovereignty, but
What's
it's
it
more
called
about the
again? I'm gonna put it
character.
up here. Sovereign.
Sovereign Overstanding. It's on
Oh.
Amazon since last year, I think.
Uh-huh.
Toward
Cool.
around this time last year, I think I put it out. And we have a follow-up book coming out next year, probably around February, March. But what I like to get more into is the character. We have different
Yes.
religions. We have Islam, we have Judaism, Christianity, of course, and Taoism, Buddhism, and blah blah blah. Um, the way I see it, though, there's a lot of people that they get so caught up in the semantics of the religion that the same religions that they seem to propose, they don't seem to hold the characteristic traits of someone who would say that they were godly, whether that God was Allah or Buddha or Krishna or whatever. These traits that these different religions seem to propagate, they rarely live up to the expectations of character that I would assume would be in some of these people due to the information from the books that they're reading. So I get a little bit heavier into the character. I see somebody like Billy kind of lost his mind. He went out on this 3-hour rant, blah, blah, blah. My God. And, it just wasn't, one, it wasn't professional, but at the same time, I'm looking at your character and I'm thinking to myself, and I'm like, my God, like, you're calling people poor. You're saying they're stupid. I mean, I'm a millionaire. I got 5 floors, my elevator, my movie room, blah, blah. I'm like, this guy, like, I mean, are you here to mock the people that support you, or are you here to support the people, with your endeavors? And that's where it gets a little
And
crazy
pardon
for
my
somebody
French,
like me.
man. Pardon my French. Billy comes off kind of hoish to me, man, because he kind of came to the guy's door with a damn piece of paper in his hand and sandals and stuff, knocking at the man's door, trying to get him to, man, get rid of that video.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, that's kind of like, for me, that's kind of like a little bitchy sort of move, in my opinion.
I wouldn't use that particular vocabulary, but I totally understand what you're saying there, because it does say a lot. Because it's like, well, I mean, you lost the debate. You say you have these facts. You go around, you're telling all of these people, you're making all of this money, you're fleecing the flock, and you're saying that you know all of this stuff. So somebody comes, takes you apart very meticulously, professionally, and I think that the guy showed a lot of, he had patience with Billy. And so, it wasn't like he was adversarial to him, but Billy just takes it, and like, he doesn't like winning. He's like a Kamala Harris or something out here. Like, I mean, you guys preach this stuff when you're on the top of the mountain and everybody's bowing down to you. But at the same time, when somebody comes and challenges the facts, then now you act like a 3-year-old. And it's like, but you're supposed to be this incredible scholar that we should all admire in his 5-floor mansion. And that's kind of crazy.
That's what it is, man. And that's the grift. That's how the grift works. And like you said, those are good flags, little red flags you can look at, is a person's energy and the way they present themselves and the things they say. And body language too is like the biggest communicator rather than just the words. The words, you can say anything, but you can't hide them shifty eyes, bro. Like, people lie all the time, man, to try to get over and get money and whatever.
Oh man, I don't know, man. I hope that things go well for him. I hope he doesn't lose whatever it is he's accomplished up until this point. But I mean, as far as people following somebody like that, I'd have my reservations. Do your homework a little bit better than Billy does his homework. Yeah, that's what I would have to,
Right.
Because he obviously will take the word of whatever he finds online, and all of a sudden it becomes the gospel, literally, for him. And it's like, but that's not actually the fact, Billy. But I mean, I guess if you say it loud enough and hard enough and long enough, then eventually they say that people will believe a well-dressed lie better than they would believe the naked truth. So,
and people have been doing it since the beginning of time. I mean, people have been conning. I mean, there's even laws in the ancient Hebrew text, under the law, about if somebody claims to be a prophet, you should stone that dude to death or whatever. And so people were aware of liars and grifters even way back before those terms even meant anything. And today it's no different. In fact, it's probably more prevalent because we're so connected over the internets and the interwebs and all of that good stuff. And so you just have to be aware. And one of the things that I always preach is that, man, be a skeptic. It doesn't mean you're not spiritual. It doesn't mean that you are mad at God or whatever your hang up is, it's a psychological thing that you're preventing yourself from loving yourself. Because if you truly loved yourself, you're going to want to teach yourself the truest things you can. If you know, when you want to test all things, man, you don't want to just accept what you're spoon fed. And you see how these people think about you.
Yeah,
They think you're
yeah,
dumb. They think you're stupid.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And people, people are fickle, that way. So you can't necessarily go by just what society is saying about you, because a lot of times people have an agenda, unfortunately, and depending on which group or clique or coven or whatever religious sect that they're a part of, then this may dictate the direction that they may approach you from and want to inadvertently push you into.
Right.
So a lot of times, you got to be careful with that. I like to move alone. I mean, I love
Mm.
people. I'm always on YouTube, just streaming through different things and checking out what the different people are saying. So, in that way, I associate with the people online in my society, in my community. I have very amazing relationships with the people in my community. But at the same time, the influence and the person's character, sometimes it doesn't match well with where I'm coming from. So I kind of like to move alone. This way I don't have any issues or problems with anybody that way. But at the same time, when you do it the way that I do it, your voice may not be heard as
Mm-hmm.
loudly as those who are screaming from the mountaintop every 15 minutes. And so it
Right.
kind of, it's a balance that you got to find. But I mean, if your character I feel is intact, then it will never be a problem for you.
Yeah, and look, man, when somebody's getting millions and millions of views, they're getting paid, they're selling books, they're selling elixirs, they're selling crystals and pyramid crystals, and they stand to make a lot of money. I mean, our common sense has to kick in at some point. Like you have to have a little bit of, I don't know, you got to have a little bit of street knowledge about people and how to operate in this world, man, because it's not all about the books. It's not all about how well spoken you are and what kind of suit you happen to be wearing and the mansion you got. That might just be all part of the damn game that's
This is true.
designed to suck you right in. And we know that's the case because those are the things that even Billy Carson preaches against. He's very quick to point that out on the other side, and then other people on the other
Mhm.
side are quick to show that. So it's all like playing this hypocrisy game and
Hmm.
all of that. What people like us can do that ride alone, like you say, we have the privilege to sit down from our seat and observe all of this stuff and make a
Absolutely.
more clear decision. And we're not emotionally committed to Jesus or emotionally committed to Billy Carson or whatever, these Emerald Thoth
Right,
tablets or whatever the heck he's trying to promote.
right,
But you know what I'm
right.
saying? Like it's you gotta really have your common sense ready at all times because it's real out here, man. People are trying to get paid. And
People are,
they
and they're
are,
getting
man.
paid well. They're getting paid well. I mean, this guy's got 5 floors in the elevator. I'm like, whoa, man. I mean, if grifting was in if it was in
I
my
don't know.
character to do, man, I mean, I might be looking into something like that as an investment, but I just can't do it. I prefer to just keep my
For sure.
integrity,
I,
Yeah, man.
and
Go ahead,
I
Alex.
do have my doubts about his supposed financial prosperity because this dude was talking about this guy was talking about whenever he was responding to the backlash from this a podcast that he did where they say he got just completely destroyed. He was coming up with excuses like, "Oh man, I'm sick, and
right,
I had the AC guy coming over. I got 5 AC
Yeah.
units. I didn't know which one needed to be serviced, and I got to go pick up my mama." If you was really doing that well for yourself while you got 5 AC units. Like you would have like centralized AC. Like, man, come on now.
Okay. Like, I wouldn't be worried about my AC if I had that kind of money, bro.
Right. And he was about to die. I hear this guy was about to die. I'm like, my God, he came and did the interview and he's about to die. But at 2:00 in the morning, he's ringing somebody's doorbell. Like he should have had to crawl across the lawn over there to get to this guy's doorbell. He's supposed to be half dead. But, I mean, this is all just damage control and,
Yeah.
trying to hold on to, something that seems to be slipping away. Now, this is what we say to, whether it's, Trump saying this to the Democrats or us saying this to the spiritual community. There's a time when your reign of terror is over. Now, you've had a good run. We got to give you that. You have done some great things, made a lot of money, possibly. I don't know if you really got 5 ACs or whatever, but you've had a good run. You got to let it go. But there, even in the Bible that, obviously they don't believe, they would say that, there's a time when there's a revelation and this has to come to an end. And there has to be a new way of doing things. People with integrity, with truth, with honor, with, a way to just do things in a much more positive way for everybody instead of just for yourself off of everybody. And these people are so selfish. They can't see past their nose, everything is about them. It's got to be, they got to be the big guy. They got billionaires on their phone. You can call anytime. Like, what billionaire is going to tell you that he's got all of these billionaires on the phone? I mean, he almost gave out some phone numbers just to prove it. I mean, come on, man. You're killing me.
Jesus was arguing with the Pharisees within the Gospels, and he was talking about do as they say, not as they do. So the Pharisees were a lot of they were laced, man. They had the nicest villas, they had the nicest everything. They were privy to the temple, all the things that was a measure of success back in those days. And there was no difference between religion and politics or any of this stuff, society at all. Like religion was just part of it. It's part of life. So if you were successful, you were not measured necessarily. Well, it was money, but it was also what a good standing you had in the temple, what kind of standing you had with your community, all of this kind of stuff. But see, the Pharisees were also hypocritical because they had so much money and power that they would do things that people would observe. And like you said, they would start questioning the character behind that person. Like, why, if you're so holy, you look down on the people? Why are you like that? And Jesus said that, yeah, but, do as they say, not as they do. So what he was saying was, if they are teaching the truth, it's okay to listen to them. It doesn't matter how wealthy they are. They're going to get their reward in the next life, So technically a person could be telling you the truth and at the same time be a con man. Like, I'm sure Billy Carson thinks 2 + 2 is 4, right? But just because he's a con man don't mean 2 + 2 ain't 4. It's like you have to really look at what the man's arguing. And so it's kind of like what Sophia's saying here. I just popped her comment. She says, it doesn't matter if he's famous. We're exposing that he ain't really nobody to listen to. Plus, he doesn't represent the conscious community truly. So, amen, amen, amen. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, he's exposing himself regardless, regardless, man.
Any liar given
any
the
liar,
time.
absolutely, they sure will, man. And so let me ask, what is your worldview? Just to kind of curious, let you introduce yourself to the folks, man.
Okay. My worldview. Well, I love the world, right? So, I've been in everything from, I started as a 5%er and the Nation of Islam, and then I kind of came into it from that aspect. This is when I was more consciously doing things myself. Now, of course, being raised as a young child, I was definitely sent to church. My mother definitely put me into the church, but I never really absorbed it at that time. So then the first thing that I grasped was the 5% knowledge, and this was good at the time. We moved into the Muslim world, and I was there at the number 7 mosque and blah, 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 and going through that ordeal. I learned and studied with those people. I moved up a little bit further into nationality, and this is where the book comes in, is where I'm speaking to you more from a national perspective and sovereignty. So I learned a lot about that. But as I begin to look back on all of the things that I've learned, I realized that all of these different religions, I like to look at them as pieces of a puzzle, in a sense of, if you had a giant mirror and you could look at yourself and see who you are from this giant body-sized mirror. If someone were to push that mirror down and it broke into 1,000 little pieces, each one of those religions would be one of those pieces. So everybody's kind of got a piece of the puzzle, but without the unity of it, then nobody has the full understanding of any of it. And even if we were to put all of the pieces of the puzzle back together, I mean, you could say Allah, God, the creator, you still wouldn't see the complete image of creator or creation, because our view is so limited, So the best way to do it would be to take the pieces, study all of the pieces, even the Billy Carson pieces. There are some things that he has said that actually are true. It's not every
Yeah.
single thing he says is
Absolutely.
a lie,
Absolutely.
but
Right.
it's he's based a lot of his stuff on things that are inaccurate. And so at that point, it's like, all right, well, you don't throw out the baby with the bathwater. You take what is applicable, what is useful, and you move on to another section of that broken mirror, and you gather the pieces. So this way, I've built a worldview that looks at everything holistically, and I look at people holistically. People come into my life. When I meet them, you're at 100%. If I was a teacher, you'd have an A+ when you first start the class. Now, by the end of the school year, that's, depending on what you've done and how you've conducted yourself throughout that time. But everybody is somebody, because if you're alive, then God or creator or whatever you call it must have some affinity for you, because you're here. You know what I
Because you're
mean?
here, right?
Right. So if you're here, you have some value just by being here. Like even a penny has a value because it's been minted. So it's here. It may only be 1 cent compared to the 25-cent quarter or whatever, but it's here. And so it has value, and everybody has value. And there are people that are in certain positions that want to devalue even someone who's at the strength of a penny.
Yeah.
And this is where I have a problem with. It's like, like let's not do that. And then to stand up on your 25-cent piece or whatever and say, I'm so much better than all of the pennies out there. Like, no coin is better than any other coin. They're all necessary. So, I mean, money is money. You know what I mean? If he was going to look at it that way. So, I mean, I look at things that way, and I see that, all of humanity, black, white, Spanish, whatever your nationality, ethnicity, religious background, like I got nothing but love for the people. You know
For
what I
people,
mean?
right,
And
right.
it's just
And
how
what
you
is it
treat
about?
me.
What would you say is it about the human being that has that value that can't be taken away? Like, what is that aspect? Because, just to provide a little pushback, not that I'm arguing against you, but somebody may say, well, a pedophile, are you saying a pedophile has the same value as your daughter or son? And so if you caught that guy doing what he did or whatever, you think he shouldn't go to jail or even, lose his life behind, the crime or whatever the laws dictate at the time. That's kind of like a value judgment given by
Mhm.
society on people. So it seems like the value is contingent on actions, like what people do, like how useful they are in society versus how um dangerous they are for society. But
True.
I don't know if that's really what you're talking about. Maybe you're talking about something more essential.
Well, no, I like that point. Let's go with the pedophile thing, because you say, well, then, does the pedophile have any value? Well, there's the value in it that it's a pedophile. Now, I don't mean that being a pedophile is good. I don't want to be misconstrued on that point, because I would absolutely want to take somebody's head off if they violated somebody I knew, especially one of my children. But the pedophile's value was in being a pedophile. The fact that it alerted the rest of society that there are people that are like this, that they should now teach their children certain things about, or teach their children certain character traits that they could look out for, or that they may need to have themselves. It also has the value of the justice system, which also creates a lot of value off of somebody like that, because the government pays people
Mm-hmm.
to house these type of infidels. So I mean, it may not be positive value in the sense of helping an old lady across the street or something, but it does have a type of value, we could
Mm.
say.
Yeah, it has like I would say, maybe you could argue that all people sort of have a human dignity value. Like everybody's deserving of human dignity, even if they're a pedophile, even if they're whatever. They are not to be just treated like garbage right off the bat. Like, because that kind of plays into this whole revenge thing, like emotionalism. Like people say the death penalty is good because it really stops crime, and maybe to a certain extent it does, but for some things I think it's just it doesn't really help, because like if you say people who are like straight up killers, and people who like say the MS, what is it, MS 13 or whatever, those kind of people are willing to die. They're soldiers, man. They're ready to go at any moment. They don't care about getting caught. They've been to rougher prisons. They're ready to face death daily. They don't care, and so
It's interesting, because I feel that same way about the creator. I have that same mentality as what you just described for an MS-13 gang member. I have that same mentality for goodness and righteousness. I'm
Mhm.
willing to face the death. I'm willing to do whatever it takes. I will go all the way out. I am a soldier for this thing. I live this. This is what I
Yeah.
am. And no matter how much pushback or whatever it is that the world or society or the covens and cults of the world and secret societies may push against me, it just, death is all that would stop me. And if you can hear some of the songs that I've written, I would come back through my peers and still
Mhm.
do the same work. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, one second, brother. I got a phone call coming in. All right, sorry about that. And Sophia, you
yeah,
guys are on, but your screen is black for some reason, and you're muted. No, she just left. Added. Let me add her back. Nope, doesn't work. Oh well. I would reboot and try to come back on. Some technical difficulties are going on, my friend. I'm sorry about that. But yeah, you make a good point. And I mean, the way I kind of look at things too is that we have this sort of default value. And the reason is because we are really not our ego. And what I mean by that is it's part of us, part of what we can essentially call us ultimately, but it
mhm.
isn't the fullness of who we are. Like, um, all of my dreams, all of my story of life, how I think my personality is a construct. So it's a story that I've built in my mind. I could maybe become a vegetable tomorrow and forget all that stuff, and I would still be here as a human being. So there's got to be something deeper. I'm not my arm, I'm not my leg, I'm not my no hair, having hair. I'm actually something deeper, and we're all something deeper than that. You know, what's more fundamental than these stories and these thinkings is our essence, which is the experience. You know, we're experiential beings. You know, we have we're able to reflect on our thoughts. When you think, you're having an experience. Your entire understanding the world is based on an experience first. From your experience, then comes all the thinking and the storytelling and the woes and the fears and all that shit. But that's not real. Those are just stories we tell ourselves, and that everyone's kind of agreed to, possibly. Maybe some people would even disagree that you're a good person or a bad person or whatever. So we are not that thing that we think we are. That's just an illusion, a delusion of the limited human mind. And so religion and things like that come out of thinking and trying to solve, you know, existential problems. But it's so simple. Right in front of you is you're having this experience. This is mystical in itself. The fact that you're conscious is an amazing miracle in itself. Like, no one can really understand it. It's called the hard problem of consciousness, right? Like, that's because it's so fundamental. You can't reduce it anymore. You can't reduce experiences or consciousness, and there's no reason why there even should be. You could be a AI robot that has no experience at all and still able to calculate more than humans do, right? And beat us in chess or whatever the case is, right? So I think that the human, what makes us special is that we are able to experience ourselves and our life. It kind of goes back to that Descartes. I think, therefore I am. That's not an assumption or a presupposition. That is a fact. You couldn't talk about not existing unless you existed to even have the thought about it, right? But go ahead. Go ahead, Sophia. You haven't.
This is a point we sometimes. Excuse me, Sophia, Queen. Sorry, I picked up.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I'm the one with all the issues.
You're good.
Well, technical issues.
I sometimes use an argument very similar to that when it comes to this LGBTQ kind of community, because you know, a lot of them say that, you know, women on men and men can do whatever they do. But, you know, we always say that you wouldn't even be here to say these things if it wasn't for a man getting with a woman.
Right. Very true. Very true.
I think that
nature
those
has
people,
an order.
I think a lot of those people are confused because they're being purposely misled by these activists that are chosen by the establishment. And so in turn, they're able to use these people and medically exploit them and really fucking them up, like, for lack of a better word. And so, like, I think people just get confused. I think people just get confused because we all have masculine and feminine energy, and that's even biologically true. We have testosterone and estrogen. Now, women obviously have more estrogen than men, and men have more testosterone than women. Unless you're a woman like me, I make more testosterone and people call me manly. So just because I'm also in touch with my masculinity doesn't mean that I'm not a woman, though, because I can still biologically reproduce, right? So I think in like native tribes, one of my tribes that I originate from, the Choctaw, you know, we had such a thing called two spirits, but that doesn't mean you're a trans person. It means that you embody both energies and you have a balance between the two within yourself. So like a man, for example, can definitely be caring and compassionate or be able to, you know, deal with children. Not only women can do that, but generally speaking, women are the ones doing that because we naturally lean more towards certain things. So I think the establishment just creates all this confusion around this type of stuff to exploit people. You know what I'm saying?
Pit people against each other so that they're not, you know, focusing on, you know, trying to buck the system.
Right, because if we were allowed to express our way the way that we want to express ourselves without being looked down on, like you may be the kind of man that was raised with a bunch of females and you may genetically be a little more feminine. You shouldn't be look down on for that. And so
And that's the
that's
whole
why
thing, man. Nobody's really
that's
doing anything to them. You know, it's like, see, this is the thing that the media runs with, is they try to say, oh, we need new laws, we need to control people's language. No, you need to tell people to toughen up, man. Have a little backbone. You know, if you are of a certain thing and something hurts your feelings, if somebody called me a woman,
this nigga eating.
you know, I'm gonna straighten them out. You know what I mean? Like I'm not gonna let nobody call me a woman if I'm not a woman, because that's not my pronoun. That's I'm a male. And gay stuff, I'll be honest with you, I don't understand gay stuff, man. That's kind of like, to me, it's gross.
But
But
that's normal,
I'm not
just
gonna.
like
But
it
I'm
is.
not gonna say right, and I'm not gonna say it's abnormal though. I'm not gonna say it cannot ever happen in nature. I'm just of another nature. I'm on another side of the spectrum. So this whole thing about controlling my language, controlling how I feel about these sort of topics, is really sort of like an infringement on your rights. And if they can do that, if they're, you know, because language control is thought control. You know what I'm saying? And that's how the enemy gets us. That's how they have brainwashed us, is through that. You know what I'm saying? So it's just crazy. But L.A. Chuck says, why is Wesley Snipes online talking about Billy Carson? I didn't know he was. You hear anything about that?
I think it's a joke, because he's saying, yo, he does look like Wesley Snipes.
Oh.
Are they talking
Wow.
about you?
No,
I would assume so.
Are they talking about you?
Yeah. Yeah, I can see why they would say that, but wow. That's funny.
Yeah. Yes.
That's crazy.
I have a blade actually as well.
Yeah, you can do the kung fu and the action hero stuff, huh?
We can make all that happen. We can make all that happen. We're here for that.
I bet, man.
Yeah. Well, Billy's made it to the big time. So, you know, even us here in Hollywood, he's hit our radar. And we're looking at what he's doing. It's very demonic, and it might end up in the next Blade movie. Who knows?
Yeah, probably.
Oh,
So you're in West Hollywood?
No, actually, I'm actually in North Carolina.
Oh, North Carolina. Okay, yeah. I was about to say, I used to live out in California too, so I understand the culture out there. Yeah.
Hey, Sammy,
Wow.
I'm not sure. Oh, is that Sammy Bungle, my girl?
Of course, yeah, it is. She been saying hey all along. You being all rude and stuff.
What you got?
Yeah, but yeah, man. If anyone wants to pop in, we can. We've been streaming almost 2 hours now,
Yeah.
so it's been a nice conversation, man. A
It's
lot
got
of views. Yo,
to be
you're breaking up.
here because she loves
I was listening to you guys in the shower. Oh, ain't that nice? So, did we clean your brain too? you got your armpits, and we got your brain, right? Man,
I'm so sorry that we're lagging so.
I know, man. I'm gonna get ready to cut this stream because we're at 2 hours. But guys, please like and subscribe to the channel. I mean, we're just up and coming channel, and we haven't really focused on it. But now we're gonna do this every week, man. Have these kind of conversations because it's like church for us. You know what I mean? And we just enjoy the convos, man.
I have so much fun doing this, and I love that we had some.
Yeah, she lagging, man. She sounds like C3PO right now. Daggone it. There she is. You're back. So you were saying, thank you.
Can y'all hear me now?
Yeah, go ahead and repeat. Go repeat that.
Yeah, I was just saying, you know, I have a lot of fun doing these shows, and I'm glad that somebody joined us. And I didn't catch your name, sir.
I'm Asborn Bay.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Asborn.
Nice to meet you.
I'm really glad that you joined, and nice to meet you.
All
Yeah,
right,
nice to
it's been
meet
a
you,
pleasure.
man. We had a
It's been
great,
a pleasure.
and join us again. You're welcome at any time, you know.
I will. I
We can
will.
discuss
I
different
will.
topics. So yeah, man. So we're gonna go ahead and cut this short. I think we talked enough about this grifter guy, and and we met new friends as usual.
Yeah.
But a bunch of attack artists.
We should all go take a shower.
We all gonna go take a shower now, man. We're all
Cleanse
that dirty.
ourselves.
There
Sprinkle
you
a
go.
little salt in it. Sprinkle a little
There
salt
you
in
go.
it too.
A little
Ex-
salt. All right. All right. Salt, holy
Yeah.
water, anything that gets the dirt off.
For real, man. Oh my goodness. All right, folks. Well, like and subscribe. We'll be back next weekend with another conversation and a discussion. So, peace. In the stream.